Welcome to this episode of the Smart Leader Sell podcast. I am Jessica Lorimer, your sales coach and leadership expert, and I'm joined by Susan Jimenez, which I'm really excited about because Susan recently did some really, really cool stuff for this podcast, actually. So I've known Susan, we connected in some networking groups over the last, about a year? It's about a year now?
Yeah, I started when you had your challenge.
Yes, and we're just about to do the next challenge, which I'm quite excited about. But it has been about a year, and I connected with Susan because she has phenomenal video skills. Okay, she used to work on TV, she was editing documentaries, it's all very cool, and she has created her own business around this video editing, video creation space, which in the online world is hugely needed because everyone knows that video is the next big thing, or that video continues to be the next big thing. Isn't that the case?
Yeah. So thanks for having me on. This is really fun, by the way. And yeah, video is kind of that thing where we all know we all have to do it. It kind of feels a bit like now you kind of, if you're not doing it, then okay, what's happening with your business plan? But at the same time, it can also be overwhelming because there's so many ways to use video these days that if you have a smartphone, which everyone just about has, unless maybe you're like my parents, everyone has a video. So that means you can start creating video yourself. You can even start editing. So yeah, it's right there for everyone.
It's crazy because I was reading some reports earlier on this year when I was starting to look at how I wanted to diversify the content in my business. And Facebook Live, obviously, has been huge for most people. Periscope kind of was big, but when Facebook implemented Facebook Live, my business doubled almost overnight. Within the space of 3 months, we doubled the revenue that was coming in, and it was just phenomenal because the power of video is that people can actually see you. And in corporate, we used to say, people like to be able to see the whites of your eyes. We like to know when somebody is genuinely speaking knowledgeably about something, when we can trust somebody, when they're being credible. And actually, video gives us that ability to look at someone and think, are they really telling the truth? Can we really trust them?
Yeah, I think with the difference with live video, and that there really is difference between a live video, a pre-recorded video, and even like a sales video. But with the live videos, it's that time where you kind of have to be vulnerable. Things are going to go wrong. You're going to show up and maybe your background's really bad and, you want to just get on and express yourself. And it's that chance we don't have to wear makeup, and that's something I'm really in for. Even when you're making production videos, you don't need to wear makeup and have this perfect background. But it really comes to your story, your message. So if you're connecting with your people, because you could be doing live streams, but if you're not making a connection, you're not giving it some sort of message that inspiring people are not going to stay on. Some people can stay on for 50 minutes and we'll watch that from the beginning to the end. And maybe someone might do that and then we can't watch them because there's nothing there. There's no message, there's no connection. So you already have to have some sort of connection with your audience to kind of get that movement quite fast. It doesn't mean, but it is definitely live streaming in that way. It is really about kind of like opening the doors and this is who I am. This is, you're going to be, you have to forget about, it's that kind of mindset. You have to forget about that's just maybe one person's there, who's looking, who's watching, because you can't do that. Otherwise it just kind of blocks you from your message.
I think it's so funny because video has hugely increased in terms of popularity, both recorded and live. For me, I watch a lot more videos now than I did. And I tend to watch pre-recorded stuff. I tend to be a fan of vlogs and things like that I can digest at my own pace. And it's really interesting because my audience went through a phase last year where Facebook Live was the thing, and I could do a Facebook Live every single day and people would be there, and obviously it's great because it's really good fun to connect with people live. And then what I found was that because so many other people were doing Facebook Lives, people were literally living on Facebook and becoming really overwhelmed by, oh my goodness, if I miss this person's live or it's at the same time as this person's, like, who do I watch? What's the problem going to be? And in all honesty, it's why I started moving over to automated content that people could just pick up 2 or 3 times a week and digest at their own pace. And that's what I love about what you do with video, because you do work with a lot of automated content to make sure that obviously it is exactly what's needed, but it's not kind of pimped and primped to the point that I think maybe we see Marie Forleo doing. You know, and I love Marie Forleo. I have to say her hair is just phenomenal. And, you know, whoever does that, please like get in touch, because I would love her hair. But we're seeing this kind of move away from the totally perfectionist pre-recorded video into either automated pre-recorded, but like you're saying, natural, vulnerable, authentic, or this kind of Facebook Live, but in a more scheduled way, you know, so that people can really fit it around the time.
Yeah, you have to also see it too as that when you're looking at Facebook and you're going through your feeds and you see live videos, they're just popping everywhere. You go from one to the other. So you like might pop in there for a couple of seconds. And if you pop in there and that person's actually like looking through their notes and going, wait a minute, I was going to say something, you switch off and you move on and you've lost that person. Mm-hmm. You're like pre-recorded videos. This is like within we used to say within the 13 seconds, you have to kind of like right there, you know, kind of connect with someone and have something for them to stay on. But now it's even less. So that's the challenge of creating pre-recorded videos. You do have to kind of bring that quality up, but it's mainly just knowing what to say straight away that you capture people's, you know, attention. And you can still have that, you know, create an experience, but also kind of create more of an emotional connection sometimes with the pre-recorded videos. And that's something where I really love, because you're really drawn into that message or story. It gives you a chance to combine text and other visuals. So then the person is more likely to, you know, keep watching, because if you think about, you know, when you're watching a trailer, you'll watch the trailer for 2 minutes because there's such a mixture in that trailer. Mm-hmm. But if you watch a live video for 2 minutes, you really have to kind of love that person. You need that really like capture someone really well. So that's just
I think it's phenomenal, and like you mentioned there about having or being able to combine text, image, visuals. You know, one of my favorite ever clients is actually deaf. And when I worked with him we worked together about 18 months ago, he's an incredibly successful lifestyle coach for men now. But when he applied to work with me, one of the big reasons that he applied to work with me was because, unlike a lot of people, my videos had show notes underneath, so he could actually see and lip read and also get to read what was going on in case there were bits that weren't easily accessible. And the other thing was that he wanted to do something similar for his audience, you know, and I think we do have to be very aware that in a world full of people who are diverse, who have different needs, who learn in different ways, that it's not just about creating one piece of content and letting that go out into the world. And that is the beauty of video. It is accessible. You can have it transcribed. You can put captions under it. People can use, you know, lip reading skills to watch it. And then you have average Jess like me, who is fortunate enough to be able to hear, to be able to see, who can digest it, you know, without other effects as well. So I think it's a hugely powerful medium.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all learn things differently. I had to learn Dutch. It was the third language I had to learn. And for me, it's kind of being a visual person. I had to listen and I had to read the text. And maybe someone can just listen to the audio and they're done. So we all learn things differently. And then it's also with video, you kind of, if you're able to give that to your audience, that possibility of creating a video where you're talking, or like talking heads, you know, where it's just that one-to-one sort of person, or you actually create a video where it's just the text. It really depends on the message. If it's an educational video, it's distracting to see someone's face and talking. You know, you're looking at the background. Oh, that's a nice picture they have on the background. You know, you're distracting. So it's kind of like, it's when you really just need to know what's your message and who you're talking to, what, you know, how are they more likely to soak in your information is the way you kind of want to create the video, because there is no wrong or right way. You know, with everything, with video, it's the same thing. It kind of over time you find what sort of fits well for you.
I love it. And that's kind of the same with sales as well, because obviously with sales, you have to find the way that works for you. There is no one right strategy for everybody. Everything is going to have to be tailored. And that leads us in, obviously, to your question today, because your question today is all about how you can tailor something to work for your audience. So please tell us what your question is.
Yeah, so I mean, my background with video has been quite long, and I've been doing it since 2004, which is a long time. But I started doing video differently. I was working in a advertising agency, so we were doing short videos. But for me, where I got my experience working more one-to-one with female entrepreneurs, is just being able to bring that story to life was just what really buzzes me, being in the background. But then most of the time, these people, you want to create this, beautiful video for them, really focus on the story. They become that star. They become, through their story, they're not necessarily going to have the budget for it. Or if they do have the budget, they just don't see the quality of work that you can do. And because I'm now competing with people on Fiverr and VAs, people think like, oh yeah, I'll just give it to my VA. She can do the edit for, then it's kind of like, okay, that's where I'm at the stage. Like, how can I still work with leaders and coaches and, digital nomads, and then, but still kind of bring that real good quality work to the video. Yeah. So I think for me, it's just like, how do I deal with that challenge? Yeah.
I think for me, I need to understand this challenge because there are lots of different strands there. One, I think, is a clarity piece for you, which is this actually something that entrepreneurs need? And the answer from me very simply on that is yes. Entrepreneurs do need help with content. In terms of having content professionally produced, it's not necessary at the beginning of your journey. I never had anything professionally produced at the beginning of my journey. Not my website, not my videos, not anything that I did. Because ultimately at the beginning of your journey, you need to be focusing on two things: sales and client delivery. And that really is it. As long as you are selling and you're making money and you are delivering the best results to your clients, really the fact that your PDFs look like something your cat just threw up, nobody cares. That they care about the quality of the content. As your business starts to grow, and this was the interesting trajectory for me, as my business started to grow and I started to get more clients, it wasn't that they cared what things looked like, it was that I cared what things look like. Because as my brand started to grow, as I started to become more visible, I was featured in Forbes and I was featured in all these really cool places. And I was like, oh God, my website literally looks like something a child drew. Perhaps it's time to upgrade the way that my business looks and feels, in terms of professionalism. And that's when I started hiring in experts into my team. I have somebody who produces and edits my podcast, Scott. He's amazing, and he is completely, his whole life is dedicated to podcasts, except the bit that he dedicates to his wife and future child. So congratulations, Scott, and your wife and future child. I don't want to take away from the family aspect there. But, seriously, I hire people who are experts at what they do. We have business managers, project managers, graphic designers, web designers, people who specialize in different areas, and video is exactly the same. So I think in terms of that clarity, yes, people need it. I think there's some kind of uncertainty to you around the objections people come up with, perhaps when they're thinking, yay, I really want to have my videos produced. And then they hear, this is the cost of it, this is the reality of it, this is the time. Like, is that where you want to dig in?
Yeah, I think so. And I think what you mentioned it too, that we kind of want to have something, beautiful in that. And I think because I started fashion design for 4 years, so I do have that design background. And that's even why, like, I want to have these beautiful videos, because you are designing, you are creating some sort of art in some ways, but it's a business. You need to make a sales, right? So I want to be able to help more women. I'm like, no, don't do your video like that. And just, if you could only just do something different, I mean, it'll be amazing, the difference it can bring.
I think you have to look at the dichotomy between what you want to do, and how creative you are, and what your audience actually need. And that's going to come in different things at different stages. So like we just kind of talked about, at the beginning, I didn't need editing, and I can't speak for all female entrepreneurs. I'm just going to throw that out there. I'm like, the word fempreneur makes me want to be sick. So, it reminds me of tampons. Anyone else feel like that? Anyone else?
It makes me always think like it's some sort of transition. You're a woman and you're something else. So.
Yeah, I'm not a dinosaur. Like, I'm okay. But it is that kind of thing, right? So, I can't speak for all female entrepreneurs, but what I would say from the perspective of me and the clients that I've had is that at the beginning, they need to perhaps know the basics of video. And this maybe is where your services need to either diversify or whether you need to go, actually, I want to specialize in a particular area. So at the beginning, people probably need more help with the DIY stuff, right? How can they edit their own videos? What is it that they should really be thinking about when they are creating pre-recorded content or live content? What's the difference? How do they show up? What's the great things about, having a great background, all that kind of thing. And the benefit of that is that you could actually pair up with other people, and produce affiliate income without having to do really that much yourself. You could pair up with somebody who creates backdrops, and so you could be teaching people, hey, look, this is why you need a great backdrop for your video. And this is the person I recommend. And you can be leveraging affiliate income there. You could team up with, speaking coaches, vocal coaches, people who specialize in people being confident on video and visible and that kind of thing at that beginning stage, as well as the DIY stuff if you wanted to. Then you get to the kind of middle stage where people are, I would say, about 18 months in, but it's more dependent really on revenue, because ultimately when we look at the nice to haves in our business, it tends to be when we're more profitable. So you want to be looking at people who are making that steady 5 to 10K a month and who are kind of like, yeah, I want to be more professional. I want to have nice videos. And they're the people who are going to be looking for, welcome videos for their Facebook headers. They're the people who are going to be looking for, those cool kind of snippets on a branding photo shoot where they have a video done and it's all very exciting. And, they're going to Paris and walking down by the Eiffel Tower and all that kind of thing. We've all been there. We've all wanted that.
Everyone wants, with the balloon, holding the balloons in Paris.
I'm like, at some stage of my business, I did want that. And then I went to the Eiffel Tower, right? Me and Sam went to Paris. He took me as a surprise. It was very romantic, very lovely. Unfortunately, though, Paris, full of tourists.
Yeah.
And
takes you 50 photos to get that right photo and no one's there behind.
Well, that's it. We went to the Eiffel Tower and I kid you not, there were 3,000 people there trying to take selfies. There's all these people having their weddings or had brought their wedding dresses out and having the photos done. And it took us 19 shots to get one photo when neither of us were kind of squinting into the sun, when neither of us were really angry about people who just kept photobombing us and we have one photo. And it is still not our favorite photo. I'm we went all the way to Paris. We got one photo. This is a joke. The rest of Paris, obviously beautiful, lots of croissants, great food, amazing. But photos, nightmare. But it's that kind of thing. So at that middle stage, you want to capture those people who perhaps want one-off pieces of done-for-you work. And they're very specific. And then at the higher level, when you're working with people who genuinely are leaders in their space, leaders in their industry, if you look at Gary Vee, if you look at Kat Materzo, if you look at, Regan Hillier, people who really are dominating their particular area of expertise, that's when you get the kind of full-on design, creative, this is the all-out version. And I think that's probably the bit that appeals to you most.
Yeah.
But it also probably won't be your bread and butter, because a lot of people in the online space will want to be leaders, but it's going to take them time. So I think, in terms of business model, you want to be thinking, well, do I want to work with people from the one-off stage up? Or do I want to work with people from the beginning stage up? And you follow them through their journey. And because obviously lifetime value of a customer is way more than one sale. So as you follow them through, as they start to progress, you are the first person that they think of when they need to change their videos, when they rejig their brand or revamp that brand and they need to get things redone.
Yeah.
That could be a solution.
So I created it was a 4-week course, a video course, and that was overwhelming for me and both my students, because I wanted to teach too much, and I at the time too, I wasn't quite clear on what the outcome was for them, but it kind of really did teach me how working about mindset, because it almost doesn't matter what stage you are with your videos, but that's when people kind of, you do have to be vulnerable, whether you're on camera or not. It's like there's a part of you that you're presenting. I understand how, that can work. But then I also realized that I wanted to go back to creating videos because I miss that as well. I miss that part. And so what I'm trying to do now is, because my experience has been really like on filming, like location filming and doing the whole thing to the editing, that I'm seeing how I can help people where I can, doesn't matter where, if I'm here in the Netherlands or whether I'm back home in Australia, that I could do a video where it's short, we do an edit and I do the editing for you. But it's kind of like a done for you deal where I can bring the price down. Still, it's a quality style video, but you might not even have to be on the camera at all because I would just create video stock and, text and that. So that's something I am considering.
I think those kinds of options are really good and they're really fun, especially for people who are location independent, because it can be really hard to coordinate travel schedules. I remember having a branding photo shoot last year, and luckily my photographer, Becky, is incredible. She actually lives about 45 minutes down the road, which is really handy. I was like, oh, this is great. But even then, travel schedules were horrendous because I was like, oh, well, I'm at this conference and then I'm doing this and I've got this. And she's like, oh, well, I have this client in Spain and then I have this. And so it does make it challenging, and I think for you, starting with video stock would be a lot easier and it would be more affordable for people. I think the thing that you've really got to think about here is not about what you think is going to sell better. It's about what do you really want to do? Because ultimately, you can make money with any of these options. You can do whatever. I think the thing is you have to have the confidence to say, this is where I want to specialize and this is what I want to do. So either I want to create the videos and I want to spend my time editing and doing that, or I want to focus on the mindset. But you have to start with one. You can't do both. I think that's the thing. Most people try and do both at the same time and it doesn't necessarily work. Niching is really important.
Yeah, no, in that way, I have just made the decision that I'm putting the course on the side. Mm-hmm. And right now I'm focusing on creating those videos for you. And it's like, I call them personal brand videos because it doesn't matter if it's like an awareness video or sales video, it's still personal. Mm-hmm. And it just allows me to work with someone who's on the other side of the world, who maybe doesn't want to get on camera or does want to get in camera. And I still work with them one-to-one, straight session. We need to work kind of getting that comfortable. But then there's always going to be that, like I made a video a while back, a documentary for someone, and she was just her story about going through cancer. And that to me that just made my, my whole year, I think, just making that video for her. And that is that kind of like that love project, that I have on the side. So I can kind of see how I can, if I could do couple of those in the year, kind of, that would be great.
And you can, like, the benefit of making an income is that you get to make an impact and you can choose how you do that. You make an impact on obviously the clients who are paying you and fulfilling the workload for them, but also it means that you do get to take on people for scholarships or like your love projects. You can donate to charity. There are lots of ways that you get to make an impact when you're making that income that you want. I think for you, it's now about, if you have the clarity on and putting the course to one side and really focusing on the edits of videos, it's looking at, okay, well, what are the most common objections of why people aren't currently taking them? What is the objection that's coming up consistently and how do I need to overcome that?
Yeah. And I think for me, it does have from my experiences, it does feel like I need to educate my audience, even though they might know, but to understand my type of style of work and, why is it that it's this price or why is it that I do it in this particular way? Because everyone does video differently. So I think I stopped kind of feeling like, there's competition from Fiverr or BAs. And I stopped looking at that and just sort of like, well, you go to someone to work with someone because of course you like them, but it's also that there has to be that sort of connection and they have to be able to bring that style for you, sort of kind of into your work, right? Or be able to work with you.
Yeah, and I think you're also missing, there's also a huge bit there that is missing for you. You know, when you were talking about that and you were saying, I have to kind of justify my price and those kinds of things, nobody cares. Honestly, people sometimes will not have the money if it's $2, $20, $2,000. There is always going to be someone out there who's going to say, that's too expensive. Equally, there'll always be someone out there who says it's too cheap. So price is generally irrelevant. When it comes to decision making, when it comes to sales, only 2% of the time is price actually a real objection. Okay, that's by Harvard Business Review. I have nothing to do with that statistic. So if you're someone that gets a ton of money objections, like it really is 98% of the time not to do with money. It's to do with, have you demonstrated to that person that you can solve their problem? You know, the one thing there that you've said consistently is you're talking about the quality, you're talking about the price, you're talking about, do they have an emotional connection to you? At no point are you talking about the problem they have. What is their problem?
The problem,
I need a video.
Yeah.
How are you telling them? Like, it's not about educating them on price. It's not about educating them on quality. They don't need to know. I don't give a crap what quality my stuff is, as we've already established, like in terms of how it looks. I care that my audience get the best results from it. I care that it positions my brand in a way that makes people think, Jess is for me or Jess is not for me. I care that it communicates to my audience what I want them to achieve. I care that it communicates my mission to the world. I care that, it's representative of the way that I feel and the things I'm passionate about and the things I'm excited about and the ways that I want to change the world. I don't give a toss if you film it on XYZ camera. I don't care if it comes in Adobe Photoshop or any, like, I honestly don't know anything about it and I don't want to, because that's what I pay the experts for. I pay them to know that stuff so that they come to me and say, Jess, your problem is your brand isn't as visible as it needs to be to your audience. It is not communicating your mission in the world well enough that people are diehard raving fans and they have to work with you. And the best way for you to do that is to release a video that talks about your mission statement, that talks about the income that you are making, that is making this huge impact on the world, and how they can get on board.
Yeah.
And, the rest of it, I'm like, whatever, just let me know what I need to do. Do you see what I mean? You're not talking to your audience's problem. So when they're coming to you with that objection of, it's not really urgent right now, or I don't have the money. Well, of course it's not urgent right now. You haven't told them why it's urgent. You've told them about the quality. You've told them about the price. You've tried to educate them on the things that you think are important. They don't. Their problem is important. Your price, your quality is relevant, but honestly, it's not the diehard thing they're focusing on right now.
And I know that at the end of the day, it's what you're saying. I completely agree. It's kind of like, oh no, I want to hide in here while you're telling me that. Good to hear, because when I think about it, and if I'm writing this down, I'm like, 3 things I make when I create a video for someone. For me, it's like I save them time. I really do save them time, because rather than you figuring out how to edit, how to upload it, wherever it is, or you want to add text or this or the other, or repurpose that video, it saves you time of the that you focus on what you're saying. You focus on what you're good at, right? And then to me, it also creates an impact that you were getting that message so clear that then that's going to bring you sales. So even though you might think, okay, I'm going to spend 1,000 euros on Susan, but how many people are you going to bring in, from that video, right? So if you get 2 people, that's already paid, but that video kind of lives long. So it just doesn't sit there for one day, a couple of days, or a month, but it can really sit there for quite a long time. So I guess at the end, it's kind of me coming back to my own mindset of starting from the solution and focusing more on that. So thanks for bringing that up.
That's all right. I'm like, that's fine. That's what I'm here for. I think the thing is, this stuff, right? You are incredibly good at what you do. You're incredibly talented. I think the thing is, like you've just said there, you save people time, your video has a lifelong impact, etc., etc., etc. The difference is, are you telling people that? Or are you focusing on the technical stuff? And I was talking to one of my clients about this yesterday in my mastermind, and we were talking about sometimes it's really easy for us to focus on the how-to. the technical. It's really easy for me to do that with sales because I can literally tell someone how to rock a sales call in like 10 minutes. I'm like, yeah, just do this. And it's fine. And actually, when I feel crap, like if I'm like, oh, I'm having an off day or I feel a bit sick, it's much easier for me to create that how-to content because I know, because I'm like, could do it in my sleep, not a problem.
Yeah.
What's more difficult for us to do is to explain the why and to educate our audiences on the value of what we do without relying on the technical. You know, if I sold my services based on, hey, I can tell you how to convert 80% of your sales calls into yeses rather than 20%, which means that you're going to get 4 times more clients, which means you're going to get 4 times more revenue. Sure, I'd get people sign up. The people who really like maths and the people who are like, yep, knocked out by that. However, if I sell from a place of, hey, you know, ultimately my job is to make you feel good about selling so that yes, you can absolutely convert this percentage of sales calls and that's fantastic. But also the important thing is that you'll be confident about what you're selling. You'll be clear on how to sell it. You'll have tailored strategies that actually work for you that aren't just, you know, kind of out there from the Wolf of Wall Street or downloaded from Jeff Walker's latest PLF book or whatever. And that you will feel confident, you'll feel in integrity with, that is going to save you time and save you money and save you many, many sales mistakes. People are going to buy from that because the ultimate outcome isn't always that people want to make money. You know, people say this to me a lot. They're like, oh, it must be so easy for you. You're a sales coach. Everyone wants to make money. And I'm like, I get the same objections everybody else has because you know what? Everyone comes to me. They're like, Jess, I'd love to invest with you because I want to make more money. But also, I don't have the money right now. So I'm just going to wait until this client hires me. And then I'm going to do the sales thing. And I'm like, ugh, okay. You know, and so for some people, it's true. But the majority of people, you know, have the same objections, and the objections are never about the money. The objections are, can you really do the thing you're telling me that you can do? Do I have enough self-belief in myself that I'm going to show up and do the work required to get the results? You know, and that's what you want to be showcasing to your potential clients all the time. You want to be communicating the value of the end goal, of the transformation, of the possibility of what really could change for them and what that really could look like. Not focusing on the technical, this is what we're going to do, this is the timeline, all of the time. Because they need to know that. Facts tell, but ultimately it's the communication of value that sells.
Yeah, that's actually such a great, fantastic point because I think I focus a lot on the story, your message, and creating video with intention. That's really my focus. And where it is really important, but it just kind of, you know, it's an emotional connection that we might listen to it, might read it, or might watch a video about it. But I can see it now that it's not going to something like, hey, I need to contact her, you know. So if I were to use my testimonial videos that I have, that it did bring someone from the video, it actually gave them a job. It landed them a job, and that wasn't the goal of the video. So yeah, it really is kind of like being more aware of what they need as well, rather than what you always think, you know, they need to focus on.
And that's the thing, like the majority of my clients will tell you, my biggest phrase that I tell everyone is sell them what they want and give them what they need. Everyone wants a solution to their problem. Everyone wants it to be quick. Everyone wants it to be relatively easy, painless. Everyone wants to have that transformation that they're looking for. When we help them work towards that, we also have to give them what they need. Sometimes those bits aren't as sexy, right? And in real terms for your business, that looks like sell them the transformation, sell them what's on the other side, sell them the reality of, you know, what really can happen if you create an amazing video that sells your brand, communicates your value, you know, what is going to happen, you know, to them? Will their brand explode? Will they get more clients? That kind of thing. During the process, you give them what they need. And that is the facts. That's the reassurance that their video is going to be high quality. That's the reassurance that they're having this dealt with by a pro. That's the dedicated timelines, the great customer support, the ability to help create storyboards for them and give them the exact coaching that they need to get on the video and be confident and do the things, right? in terms of what you're doing right now, what I think is happening is you're selling them what they need. You're like, hey, look, you need the high quality video, you need the this, you need the technical stuff, blah, 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 blah. And they're like, ugh. Like, no, that is the granny pants of the sales world, right? Those are the Bridget Jones pants right there. Nobody wants those. We don't want to be sold those. We want the Frenchies. We want the Victoria's Secret catalogue in front of us, and we want the sexy, fun, transformational stuff that we're really looking for. So that would be what I'd say to you. How do you feel about that?
Oh, I think that's such a great, it almost feels like a challenge. I'm going to take you up on the challenge, because I am at the middle of just creating what I would call a business card. It's a video business cards.
Amazing.
So it's kind of like explaining what I do, but in there I do talk about time, but now I'm going to really highlight it, like what it actually is, and I'll think about you when I'm doing that.
I hope that you have a really big pair of pants, like just opposite your computer, and then you can just look at it and laugh. Dear. Yeah. It's been so amazing talking to you today. Seriously, thank you for coming on, and thank you for letting me kind of pull you into the coaching ring for a little bit, because I know that it was a little bit uncomfortable there. Some of those things are a little bit rough.
Oh, it's good. No, it's good. It's kind of, sometimes you need to, as much as you kind of, either you can be comfortable or you can come out of your comfort zone, but you can't have the both.
It's kind of like Yoda, isn't it? What does he say? Do or do not. There is no try. I love Yoda. Don't like Star Wars. Love Yoda.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That's for another conversation.
It's all controversial in my house. But yeah, so thank you ever so much for coming on. Seriously, I really appreciate it. It's been really great to dig into that sales stuff. And I think that's really helpful for everybody, who listens to this, because ultimately it's something we all go through. So I really appreciate that. Where can people find you? If they want to get these miraculous granny pants free video business cards and things, where can they go to find you?
I would love to meet people and have conversations on my Instagram. That's where I'm very visible. That's just at Susan Jimenez me. And yeah, definitely send me a message. I would love to connect with you. Maybe we can getting a hashtag for you so we can all find each other somewhere.
Oh, that would be so awesome. Can you imagine having that? Jess and her pants, hashtag trending or whatever. I'm going to make that a thing. But we will have your link in the show notes. I'm really, really excited for people to get to know you. Thank you so much for coming on today. And to everyone who's listened. Thanks for doing that. I love it when you listen. It's really helpful. If you have enjoyed it, please subscribe. Don't miss the other episodes that are coming. And obviously, if you've enjoyed the conversation between me and Susan today, go check her out and make sure that you leave us a little review. It's really good for us to know how we're getting on and what you're thinking and what you're enjoying about the podcast. If obviously you're not enjoying it, maybe don't email. I'm joking. Of course you can email. It's totally fine. It's jessica@jessicalorimer.com. But we really do, in all seriousness, hope that you're really enjoying it. And I'll see you on Monday for the next deep dive training. Catch you then.